So let's take a break from the serialization part. So we'll work a little bit with our lock-on system, and that's because, well, there was two different people that asked me about it in the same week. So let's do that. So we have a lock-on. The first thing that we will add is basically the dot and the health above the enemy. Okay, so let's create. Well, I'm going to go about it the easy way. I'm just going to create a new canvas. Game object, UI, canvas, which in turn I'm going to change to wall space. Of course, we need to assign the camera, and we do have the camera, which is this. And now this canvas will be rendered in wall space. Let's go under our managers, and we're going to create a new script which we're going to call walled canvas. Let's open that up. Then I'm going to delete this, add that in, then void awake. Let's make this into a singleton so we can have easy access to that. And I kind of want to have the public game object, enemy, lock, or enemy UI, something like that. Okay, for the most part I think that's what we need, to be honest. For this one we just need access to the world canvas because we're going to be parenting any created prefabs we do. We're going to parent it underneath that. Then let's create a new script which we'll call enemy UI. Let's find our solution explorer, and then down here we can delete this. We can delete this as well, and then let's use the enemy engine.ui, unity engine.ui. Then we need a slider for the health. We need a transform for enemy transform, and on update, well, first of all, if enemy transform is null, return, and then also close this game object. Otherwise, transform.position will be enemy transform.position. That's about it, what we need for this. And we kind of want to have the health slider update either inside update or either the enemy. So instead of just having the enemy transform, we could use the AI controller, and then this will be transform.position, and then this will be enemy transform, health slider dot value equals enemy transform dot stats dot health. Okay, now one thing that we will have to do is if we only want one of these, because you can't really select multiple players, multiple enemies, I guess you can lock onto multiple enemies, we could say public void load AI load enemy, and we will have our AI controller, then to load the enemy, we're basically going to say health slider dot max value will be enemy transform dot stats dot max health. Yeah. Although I guess we could just say that all enemies will start by 100 and they just take different damage. Yeah, for now I guess it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So let's just use this one and let's create multiple positions, multiple cases of this per enemy. We'll see. Anyway, so if we want to have only one, however, yeah, okay, let's do only one then. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, let's make this into a static enemy UI. Okay, so now we can have access to this. I'm going to actually close this, however, on awake, because we're going to be using it when we are on lock-on. Then, when we are, of course, again in lock-on, inside our input manager, or inside our controller, let's see this. So if a controller is lock on, okay, disable lock on, we have all that. That's for the input. Yeah, that's on the input. We need to know inside our controller what's happening. Okay, so we just need one update. That's on handle rotation. I guess we could just use this. Yeah, okay, I guess we could just do this in here. And we're going to say if controller is on a lock-on, then enemy UI dot singleton dot enemy transform equals current lockable dot get lock on target. Now here's one thing though, this, yeah, okay, let's switch this into a transform. We'll worry about the health slider afterwards. So remove that, make that into position. We can also delete this, I guess, although it doesn't really matter. Then on back to our input manager, get lock on transform dot transform. Actually, no, current lockable dot is alive, get type, controller and transform, target, lock target. Yeah, that's what we need. Okay, so we have our kind of lock target, and then we can also say NMUE singleton dot game object set active to true. Then if disable lock on, we're just going to make this null. So what this will give us, it will basically be a position on top of the enemy in world canvas. Now the world canvas, we don't actually need it yet, so it's kind of useless at the moment, but we're going to use it later probably. We'll see. So NMUE, let's add the NMUE, and of course we need something to identify that. So I'm just going to create an empty game object, and I'm going to add an image at first. Let's add something like this. I don't even know where this is coming from, but we'll add it. Okay, then I'm just going to hit play for now. Now you can see that it does follow him around, but of course the scale is off the charts, so we will have to fix the scale. Okay, and you can see that we do aim at him right now. Now, the rotation, of course, is kinda off, so an alternative way to this is to have the slider value only be on wall space and have the dot be in local space. Okay, so let's fix the scale first of all. And then I'm going to delete this one and create a slider inside it. Slider, drop that there, delete everything, or just move it down, I guess. We don't need to interact with this, obviously, so it's not interactable. We don't need the hand slide area, and this area, well, let's make this red. The background should actually be black or something, then the fill area should be red, like this. And we can also delete this and this. Then on the slider we're going to make the maximum value of 100, and let's just leave it like this, and maybe we can scale this one up a little bit further, something like that. Okay, let's see, I think this will be done. Well, anyway, we'll see. I think with this way, yeah, it doesn't zero down. So let's move this here and move this from here to here. Yeah, okay, so that will be the hill slider. Of course, you might want to scale it up a little bit and have it be over, or actually I'm just going to place it a little bit higher up, something like that. Okay, we have to make the enemy UI though to look towards the camera, and that could be done with a billboard controller. Yeah, you know what, maybe we should just do this in screen space, so hold on. Okay, so let's go under enemy UI, and here's what we're going to change. Instead of just assigning the enemy transform dot position to this, we're first going to turn that into into screen point. So camera dot main screen point world screen point, and this will get the enemy position and it will turn that into screen point. Now we're going to change this. We already have one canvas, but we don't need to be using it on the same one. Well, actually I can just drag and drop it, to be honest. So where is our canvas? It's up there. Drag and drop that, and let's see if this is actually going to work. Okay, it actually does. We just need to fix the scale. Okay, so we kind of took a little bit of a detour, but it doesn't matter, it actually works. Okay, so let's close that and let's fix the scale. Okay, we can of course scale that down. Now we can make it a little bit less, and let's fix the value now. So on the, well, you know what, let's just bring back the AI controller, although we don't know if this is the AI controller. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to just go on the AI controller and I'm going to add public enemy UI to this. Then whenever somebody is actually getting damaged, well, actually let's go under update and we're going to say if enemy UI dot is not null, enemy UI dot value or dot slider, health slider dot value equals stats. So stats dot health. Then whenever you're getting damage, so on damage and you take actual damage, we're going to see if enemy UI is null. If it's null, we're going to instance the prefab now, and we have the prefab on the wall canvas. So because we don't necessarily need the wall canvas right now, I think we could just use this. Let's try one thing. UI manager. Yeah, let's do this right on the UI manager. So let's do public game object, enemy UI prefab. Okay. Then let's go back, instantiate UI manager, singleton dot enemy UI prefab. Then we're going to get the enemy UI, or we're going to say enemy UI equals game object dot get component enemy UI, and then enemy UI dot enemy transform equals this dot transform. Okay, so whenever we are doing a lock on our input manager now, we kind of need this as well, but we have our current lock target. We kind of will, well, okay, let's use this for the dot. And actually we have multiple singletons, so that's not going to work at all. And let's go on the UI and remove the singleton. We don't need this either anymore. Let's delete all of that. Then whenever we create that, we should go on the AI controller and say game object set active, set that to true. Open it up then. Okay, so let's use this, and this will make the slider and all this so when you actually attack somebody and not when you're locking on, but that's kind of what we want right now. Let's drop the slider over there, and I'm going to disable this game object, and then in here on our UI manager I'm going to drop this there. Then let's go and attack this guy. We're not doing damage to him when we parry, so keep that in mind. And apparently that didn't work. Well, it either didn't work or, well, it should hit now. Here's one thing though. Let's go back again on the AI controller, on damage. If not hit, okay, that should have played. We need to also parent this under our UI manager .singleton.transform. I don't know if I'm actually hitting him there, but yeah, okay, now we're hitting him. Okay, so of course it's a huge slider. We can fix that through our canvas. That's because scale is double actually. So the other thing that we can do is actually offset this in wall space. So let's move this up. I'd say this should look correct. We also have one problem from what I can see. Yeah, okay, that looks fine to me. Let's move this slightly upwards. So about here it's at the extent. It kind of doesn't look exactly too great, but we can always use the wall canvas. Anyway, let's just move the slider a little bit higher up in here. We of course have a huge enemy, that's why I got all that. Then what I'd like to do, well, you know what, it will make a little bit more sense if we make the target follow their hips or something. Well, anyway, that should do it. Actually, I'm just not going to move this at all. I'm just going to leave this at the very center because we would like to target different parts of the body. So if he's far away, then it will offset by too much. But what I'd like to do, however, is go over here and set the local scale to vector3.1 after we have parented under our UI manager. Okay, so with that, let's go under the enemy UI over here, and we're going to make it, if this is active, we're going to close the game object. If close timer is less than 3 or 4, then close timer time dot delta time. Else close timer equals 0, then game object set active to false. So after you hit somebody, let's make this 2 basically. If at 2 seconds you do not have it enabled, then you're going to basically close it. Then on the AI controller again, on damage, if you do have an enemy UI, then you're going to do enemy UI dot game object set active to true. Then if you are actually killing the controller, if enemy UI is not null, destroy enemy UI dot game object. Okay, and let's just go and create the same thing for, well, we could just say in our UI manager we can have the public transform dot or lock on dot. Okay, then on the input manager over here, lock on dot, or better yet, UI manager dot lock on dot singleton dot lock on dot transform dot position equals camera dot main world screen point controller current lock target dot position. Okay, and If that's the case, set active to true, and in here inside the disable lock on, actually set active to false. And let's go and create the dot as well, which will just be an, let's call this lock on dot, and let's go and create an empty object with an image, and let's just use one of these, doesn't matter. And I think relative to scale, that's fine for scale. So let's just save, and let's just drop this in here, and we can start with this disabled. Hit play. Okay, so there's our lock on. It feels a little bit jumpy, but we can always lerp the position instead of doing it this way. And when we actually draw blood to this guy, that is, we will get the health below. Oops, yeah, I'm out of stamina. Yeah, okay, the stamina stuff are a little bit of annoying. So let's go under our player. And let's see. More speed. Well, okay, whatever. We know that works. And we can have a second enemy as well. And if they start damaging each other, we'll see some different health screens. Of course, when they start damaging. There it is. Okay. So we have our health bars and so on and so on. Now, you could make it by distance. So, depending how far away you are, you could lose the lock on, or you could bring it back again. The same thing with the health, sliders and so on. Okay. So that's it for this part. We could fix a few things more, but whatever. We'll just do this later on another part. Okay, just a break from the serialization. So, as always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and if you like to see more stuff, more videos, more series, then of course consider supporting me on Patreon so we can keep making all of these nice things we're making. I'll see you next time.